Sorry. All right, well, emergency rooms, accessibility to these things is rising, or its usage is rising tremendously. People without insurance go to the emergency room sicker, and this is a very costly place to deliver health care. Yes. ICU, we're talking about high technology. Again, a very costly setting to have to solve a person's healthcare problems. And unfortunately, and I'll come back to this, this is where a lot of our healthcare spending is done, in these two settings. And what we hope to do is move it back to where it should be, constant or frequent patient consultation with a doctor. But they're moving technology from these expensive settings to a setting where it can make a difference earlier in the course of a disease. And even other types of settings, anywhere that people interact with the healthcare system, even a retail setting like a pharmacy, is a place where we can move technology from these expensive settings to these less expensive settings earlier in the course of the disease process. Now, in order to do that, to do it safely and effectively, it's going to take technology. We saw this slide earlier in Sangeeta's talk. We think of technology in healthcare in this type of setting: CT, MRI. In this case, it's virtual colonoscopy, which looks pretty good to me. I turned 50 this year. But it is expensive, and it requires a setting. But also what's happening is these types of devices. This is an example of a small point-of-care device that's used with a drop of blood to look for the presence of a protein that's indicative of a heart attack. The technology here is not in the hardware. It's in the knowledge that that protein is associated with the disease. So don't confuse technology with hardware. Back to the ICU, statistically speaking, this patient is here because of poor management of chronic disease. And so what we need to do is do a better job of managing chronic disease. What's happening there, of course, people talk about electronic healthcare records, taking these massive paper documents, putting it into a central system. This is happening. And what's in selected areas in Europe, it's happening faster in the United States. In the US, it's maybe just Kaiser Permanente has really implemented it. I'm going to take one example of how technology is improving chronic care. 6 million, this is a number of hospital days a year in the United States for one disease, congestive heart failure. 6 million days a year. It's an incredibly expensive thing, and the reason why these patients are in the hospital for the most part is not poor management of their disease. One way to approach it is, this is cardiac resynchronization. It's an implanted device. When heart begins to fail, it basically begins to limp. It's not a very good pump, and when it's limping and it works harder, fails faster, this thing will prevent that. In fact, there's a reduction of 45% in mortality by an implanted device like this that walks around, manages the disease over a course of time. For any death, not just cardiac death, these people are healthier. The problem is it's about depending on the assumptions you make, $25,000 to $35,000 per year per life saved. Very expensive. Another way to approach it, congestive heart failure, because of the physical and chemical changes that happen during your heart failure, your kidney begins to not function properly and you get edema. And a large fraction of those hospital stays are managing this edema. It's gotten out of control. Imagine a technology at the end of this healthcare network, this infrastructure, secure network, that's with us all the time. Electronics that we carry with us every day could be used to help us manage these diseases, like monitoring edema, for example. What we need on the many screens that we carry with us is a check engine light. You're going to make a call and a little beep says, hey, you better see your doctor. That's the kind of thing I believe is going to be at the end, the peripherals, new products at the end of this secure healthcare network. Now, I'm a little bit biased because I come from a place where people walk around like this. Susan didn't wear hers today. But I do believe that there's a future for us, new products that will help us in managing our health. earlier before we're too sick to take care of ourselves. So that's all I had to say.